So now we know about this concept of using files in the pages folder for creating routes, which then load these different components that live in these files. And we also see that this server-side pre-rendering works out of the box. Now let's dig a bit deeper into that file-based routing system though. For example, there is an important alternative you should be aware of when it comes to organizing your files and folders. We got this index.js file, and that loads the root page for /nothing, because it's the index.js file directly in the pages folder. Now for the news page, /news, we got the news.js file. We always have an alternative to using such a named file name, so a file named differently than index.js. We could also create a news subfolder in the pages folder, move news.js in there, and then rename it to index.js, using that special index.js file name again. Now this page would still be loaded by visiting ourdomain.com/news, because we're in the news folder. And that's important. Folders which you create in your pages folder also act as path segments. And it's totally up to you whether you want to go with news.js in the root pages folder or index.js in the news folder. Now it does matter though as soon as you start creating nested paths, and that's what I want to do now. If we want to have a path that is something like news/something important, where something important is the identifier of the specific news item you want to load, then you need to create a file in such a subfolder, because otherwise you can't create such a nested path. After all, we have two segments here. And if we just create files directly in the pages folder, we're limited to one segment, the file name. So therefore, if we want to have such a nested path, so more than one segment, we need to create a subfolder. And then we can also create the root page for that path with index.js, and then create the something important.js file as a sibling file to index.js. So now we have two different pages that start with /news. /news/nothing loads the component in the index.js file. /news/something important will load the component we create in here. Now, of course, here again, we could alternatively also create another nested subfolder, something important, with the index.js file in there. That would again be the alternative to using such a named file name in the news folder. But I hope you get the idea by now. Now with that, I could copy this code from index.js in the news folder and bring it into the something important page here, and then name this detail page maybe, because that should be the page holding the details for a specific news item. And this page would now be loaded for /news/something important. And hence, if we save everything and we visit /news, we see the news page. And if I visit /news/something important, then we see the detail page. So that's how this works. But there is still another important concept which we haven't touched on yet.